As a consequence of using this breathing technique, I began noticing that whenever I encountered presence, I knew a wholeness and completeness of being. This was an experience of effortless peace in which I was in perfect harmony with whatever transpired in my life. I realized that it was my unfolding physical, mental, and emotional experience that had become actually unbalanced and in need of adjustment. The experience needed adjustment, not what I actually am. The notion that our presence requires healing revealed itself as humorous. A wholeness and completeness of being, just being. By using consciously connected breathing to become increasingly present, I found myself making choices that restored my sense of well-being. For instance, I began responding to situations instead of reacting. This one simple shift in my behavior affected every place of my experience. My encounters with the world around me, including other people, increasingly manifested both harmony and feeling of comfort. At the same time, the intensity of my painful condition continued to subside after years of suffering from this neurological agony, and the frustration, anxiety, anger, grief, and depression it seeded. A light was now shining in the darkness. It dawned on me that there was no greater healing tool at my disposal than consciously connected breathing, coupled with the awarenesses of presence this technique evokes. To discover more about this tool, I began facilitating others in this breathing practice, closely observing the effects. Another key insight that came to me was that my intent to heal myself, to get rid of my discomfort, was misguided. Perhaps this was why I hadn't succeeded despite my best efforts. In due course, I dropped my use of the word heal because of its connection that something was wrong and had to be fixed. That's what the word healing can be mistaken with. Instead, I began using the word integrate, which to me meant there was a part of my experience that was unconscious, a part of my experience that I resisted, controlled, and sedated. Gotta look this word sedated, exact definition, because he uses it a lot. Which was asking to be incorporated into the whole. Like until then, healing felt like I was excluding something from my experience. Oh, this experience is unhealthy, not good, not right. We're healing from it. Integration felt like I was embracing everything I experienced. From till then, thinking healing is get rid of my discomfort. Now healing is embracing it, bringing it to a conscious level. These significant moments in which I was introduced to present moment awarenesses became a yardstick by which I measured when anything I explored led to an increase of present moment awareness. I embraced it as authentic. When it didn't, I wasted no more time on it. To this day, the experience of present moment awareness remains my trusted barometer, assisting me in brushing aside inefficient activities and glamorized but impotent modalities that are nothing more than a window dressing. The new way he used as a yardstick to measure and to see. An experience that brings him to more presence. Oh, it's authentic. He will embrace it. If not, it's just inefficient activities. And even if it sounds amazing, he finds it as just a window dressing. Let's cover up, let's build a new way to see it, and I don't know what. It's covering up, it's pushing away. It's not real healing, or in his word, integrating. In addition to exploring consciously connected breathing, I also began investigating the shamanic paradigm. Over a period of 4 years, I was a fire keeper in the Native American Peyote Church. Fire keeper. There's some ceremonies, they have one person that he's in charge of the fire. Fire keeper, fire chief. I don't know, a nice title, and that's his job. To make sure the fire is burning. So he had that title, he had that job for 4 years. I also crossed the Arizona border into Mexico and participated in ceremonies with the living ancestors of the Peyote Way, the Huicul Indians. Whenever the opportunity presented itself, I used myself as a laboratory for experimenting with activation of present moment awareness. And my subsequent experience became an arena for observing the effects of becoming present. This personal audacity, I'm not sure if I'm saying it the right way, may appear romantic to some. And I certainly had plenty of fun along the way. However, it was seldom easy, and the path was often unclear. Initially, there was no point of reference for communicating to others what presence and present moment awareness are. I didn't have a vocabulary to explain what I was discovering and seeking to achieve. I placed one foot in front of another, following a trail that often made sense only to me. There was numerous occasions when I became confused and disheartened. There were moments when I doubted my insights. Fortunately, I always had a way to reconnect with my quest by connecting my breathing and re-entering the radiance of presence. Each time I did so, I remembered that my quest was a simple one. I was unable to verbalize it back then, but I can now. And what was his quest? How may I become increasingly present in such a way as to leave a trail for others who also intend to show up in their life experience? I didn't realize that by embarking on such a quest, I was ultimately searching for a specific procedure. However, hindsight reveals that as a consequence of my intent, I was steered experientially towards uncovering the practical techniques, perceptual tools, and profound insights that have today evolved into the presence process. In essence, I dragged my intent to reunite with presence and to achieve present moment awareness out of the mental realm. Rooting it on this earth as a practical, methodical, integrated process that balances the physical, mental, and emotional aspects of our experience. In 2002, after 9 years away from South Africa, I returned knowing I had accomplished the first step to my quest, acquiring the raw materials for a procedure that enables activation, maintenance, and continuation of the presence of accumulating present moment awareness. Later that year, 15 years after I had crumpled onto the side of a gravel road in the Trinsky during my first attack of Haratone syndrome, I began consciously living my purpose by sharing the presence process with others. No matter how many individuals I personally facilitated through the presence process, and no matter how often I share it through instruction and subsequent writings, I remain in awe of what this process accomplishes for everyone who is willing to enter it. Reminds me of like the Baal Tanya at some point. People saw him reading his own Sefer Tanya. And he said, I'm also being shocked how much Chiddushim I find in it. Or that like every person could become a chassid, like Avraham Avinu from my Sefer. So coming to presence, to his process, how much he was teaching, he still remained in awe of what this presence of this process accomplishes for everyone who is willing to enter it. The present process is a rare jewel. It offers us a methodical approach for resolving unintegrated past trauma and a fearfully projected future, which distract us from experiencing that which we all share, presence. And the profound experience of living in present moment awareness. So, like in one word, there is past trauma and fearful future thoughts keeping us here in the overthinking mind. For me, while I'm saying this video, some of them is like, it's boring, no one will listen, it's foolish, your words are not good enough, it doesn't come out clear, you can't even read English as well, and people will laugh at you. This has to do with some past trauma too, feeling laughed at, feeling at all of this, and I could stay in this. And this presence process could help me what is the words? Resolving or integrating these unintegrated traumas. So then we can just share the same presence, what we're always sharing. The presence process is an invitation to step onto a pathway that liberates us from the prison of unconscious mental distraction. Whew. This prison of unconscious mental distraction. The presence process is an invitation to step onto a pathway that liberates us from this prison. I have witnessed how many who commit to completing this journey are perceptually reborn. And become available as ambassadors of life itself, and now live among family and community as authentic peacemakers. Yeah, as we know that we all have a job. Over here. We're all the medicine man in our own life. Just our authentic self. And this presence process can help us be liberated from this prison of the mental distraction and just being present, becoming our own authentic peacemakers in our life, which we are. As a result of facilitating others through this process intensively for about 4 years, it became clear that the option of training people to be present process facilitators wasn't an approach. He wanted to train them as presence process facilitators, but there wasn't an approach. Wasn't an approach I was willing to take. It seems to me that such an approach opens the door to the possibility of diluting the impact of this procedure, misinterpreting its misinterpreting it and turning it into a means of income for facilitators who specialize in the business of spirituality. I have realized through experience that only life itself can prepare us to have the integrity to facilitate another, and that life accomplishes this by inviting us to first develop this integrity through facilitating ourselves. In line with this insight, the presence process focuses on the art of self-facilitation. He's not going to train people to become present process facilitators. Rather, self-facilitation. My intent is that the presence process be an accessible tool of emotional integration for everyone. Therefore, instead of transforming the presence process into a modality to be shared through the medium of trained facilitators, I choose to make it directly available to you through this book. This way, you have it in its purest form. The presence process is written and presented in a manner that will enable you to become the facilitator of your journey into present moment awareness. Now, everyone who seeks to awaken from the distracted dream spell of a time-based mentality has access to this process for the price of a book. Having said this, I still encourage you to be companions to each other as you embark upon this magnificent journey. May the essence of this companionship be experienced through example, free of any assumed authority. I seek to awaken from the distracted dream spell of a time-based mentality. And therefore I'm reading the book. And if you want to be part of the companionship, let's join together. Read it yourself or listen to it being read. But any of these groups needs to be very clear that it's free of any assumed authority. I am grateful to the teachers who laid their experience before me so I might uncover this profound procedure. The presence process makes it possible for anyone to experience presence and present moment awareness without having to take the long, challenging path I had to take. In hindsight, I realize much of my journey was about learning what not to do. So, by following the simple instructions in this text, you are invited to navigate your way to an experience of presence without spending unnecessary time and energy exploring the consequence of misguided intent. It's also now apparent that even though respectful application of plant medicines and ceremonies activates an awareness of presence, for most of us, those tools are best viewed as a signpost, not the road itself. Few are called to be medicine people as a way of life. I embrace these tools, ceremonies, medicines, and their dedicated caretakers as allies. I shall always feel this way about them. I know they have been placed on the human path to assist us in remembering what has been forgotten and to provide us with a glimpse of what's possible. However, I don't adhere to their approach as the way for everyone. The mechanisms of the way for everyone are already embedded within each of us. Discovered as an inner design, a deliberate blueprint, and an intended birthright. Medicines. Doesn't speak about the Western world medicines like antibiotic, Tylenol. He speaks about the medicines of thousands of years. That activate the awareness of presence, and they are viewed as signposts, but not the road itself. It's not the way for everyone, because the way for everyone is in themselves. Although rituals and ingested substance initiate an awareness of presence and enables us to experience present moment awareness, thereby providing much insight for humanity's evolution. Their impact decays substantially after a while. Anyone who took medicine a year ago and didn't take since then, is the impact still the same? Because they don't necessarily foster the accompanying day-to-day experience required for maintaining awareness. They are potentially as misleading as they are useful. potentially they can be as misleading as useful, because they don't give you the maintaining experience, how to maintain the awareness. For this, you need to go slow and steady, the presence process. Consequently, those who use this approach repeatedly to achieve and maintain awareness without simultaneously using willpower and discipline to develop this capacity naturally, risk succumbing, I'm not sure, to the they risk the potential of contradiction of developing utter reliance in the name of inner development. Again, those who keep on using the approach of the medicines rapidly to achieve and maintain awareness without using willpower and discipline to develop this capacity naturally, they risk to, with a time, develop other stuff in the name of inner development, which is not inner development. It's my experience that for most of us, developing an authentic open door relationship with presence and present moment awareness is best accomplished naturally through the conscious and sober accumulating and applying of personal willpower and sustained discipline. Activating present moment awareness is a way of life, a daily approach to living on this planet, not a one-time quick fix. It's a journey, not a destination. This natural approach is what the present process now makes possible for all. Thank you for listening. Let's continue.